All right, we are live. Happy full moon, everybody. Aloha, shalom. I'm sitting on my hair. Okay, so I've got my cards out and I'm going to begin shuffling while you guys tune in here. And this feels like a pretty big full moon. There's a lot of talk about it. It's supposed to be the brightest full moon of the year. Each of these sacred alignments has its own special qualities. So just going to give thanks in advance for the special qualities that are shining with this one, and giving thanks for its oneness with us, that light of this special moon is inside of us. It's the same light that's inside of us. It's the same light that's back of all things. So what is the full moon, and what does the full moon activation mean? The full moon is the time in the lunar cycle when we're coming to the ending. We still have integration to do after the full moon, but it's the ending, meaning it's the full picture. So whereas the new moon is just the beginning and we're just stepping into a new lesson that we're not even really sure what it is yet until we, of course, do our activations or do our meditations. The full moon is the end of that. So it's the full picture. All the pieces to the puzzle are now available. We can see how they all connect, how all the pieces connect. We can see now in hindsight what the lesson really was that we were going through, how we navigated it, what could we have done better, what did we learn so that we can use that wisdom for next time, etc., etc. So the full moon activation is offering us a map in the form of these archetypal energies to assist us in moving ahead with this part of the cycle, to assist us with seeing this picture clearly under the full light of the moon, to see all the pieces of the puzzle revealed so that we can then piece them together in our mind's eye in a way that will help us to integrate this information as best we can, so that we can close up this chapter and begin to prepare for the new cycle. That's what this next week is going to be all about, integrating the full picture as we now are under the full light of the moon. So while I'm just finishing up shuffling here, go ahead and set aside all of those thoughts that have been circulating in your mind, those patterns you've been holding on to, feelings, emotions, whatever. We're here to neutralize. If we don't create an open space and we just keep filling it with our own thoughts, which have not really been helpful at all, then we're not going to be able to receive the wisdom. We need to create the setting for the wisdom to enter. We need to give it a space. And the way to give it the most space is to meet me in that place outside of time and space, the heart space. The place in your heart that is infinite. That's where we meet as one. So go ahead and put everything aside just for this moment and see and feel us meeting in that space, open and ready to receive the wisdom. Thank you, Faces of the One, in advance for offering us insight. We know that you are not outside of us, but you are a part of us, inside of us. We know that these archetypes are our allies just as much as we are their allies. We need these forces who are really just parts of ourselves. We need these higher parts of ourselves, these higher aspects of self, to navigate life in the most graceful way possible, in the most efficient way possible, together as one consciousness. Just as these archetypal energies need us, because we provide the body, the vessel, for them to come in and do work here in this realm. We are the bodies with the senses for these energies to experience life itself and to actualize their goodness, so that we can perform acts with them, with honesty, with patience, with kindness. Because without us, those energies are just floating about, existing eternally. But with these bodies, we can actually do something with that light. So we thank you in advance. Parts of the one that are inside each and every one of us. Okay, so what do we want to know this full moon? What has this cycle really been about? What's the lesson that we're closing up? And what's the best way that we can integrate this information that we learned this month? Which archetype should we embody right here, right now, to best integrate the lesson that we learned this past cycle? Okay. And what are we preparing for with the new cycle ahead? Okay. Setting my cards down. Okay, so beginning with what has the lesson been this cycle? What are we closing up now? What have we been so deeply involved with that we're now ready to close up? And of course, there's going to be something within that we integrate and take with us into the new cycle. Of course, it's the Tower. So this was in the last reading as well, in the last activation. In case you guys missed it, you could check it out on my wall or on youtube.com/Rebecca Magick. So for the first quarter reading, the Tower was the main part of the reading. And here we see it again. Makes perfect sense. The lesson that we were deeply learning this cycle was all around this archetypal energy of the Tower. What does that mean exactly? It means that it was all about projecting ourselves into the future and seeing the different ways our path could unfold outside of our control. Seeing that, you know, things could happen this way or that way, and maybe not the way that we've been projecting, maybe not the way that we saw it happening. And can I be okay with that? And how can I project myself into the future, see the path taking a turn, and still make it mine and still be okay with it? This cycle has all been about seeing the Tower fall before it even does and rebuilding it in our mind. Being okay with whatever way the path takes a turn. And knowing that no matter what, we are experiencing what we asked to experience. But sometimes what the soul asks to experience is not so easily identified by the ego or by the human mind. So it was all about accepting those twists and turns in life and rebuilding the Tower before it even falls. That's what this cycle has all been about. If you resonate with this, go ahead and drop a comment and let me know what this means to you. How did you receive this lesson this past cycle? I know I went through this again and again, and this card came up in all of the personal readings that I did for myself and for others this month. You know who you are. So this is what the focus was this whole past month. Hold on, you guys. There's a light in my eyes. Okay, that's much better. All right. Whew. So this is what we're taking with us. Everything that we learned from going through this challenge of the Tower. I feel a little undone with that. Maybe something else will come up. Now, how can we best integrate all of these lessons that we learned around this archetypal energy of the Tower? Who is the archetype to embody right now to help us best integrate that information? And it's the 5 of Cups. And the key word here is disappointment. And it's cups, so it's emotions, it's the suit of the heart. And you can see he's looking at the 3 cups in front of him that have spilled. But there are still 2 cups behind him standing. Quality over quantity. What is in those 2 cups that's still standing? Perhaps those 3 cups have spilled, but what was in them, which is now gone, is not serving any longer. Bye-bye. And the longer we stand looking at the cups that have been spilled, the longer we stand looking at what we have to leave behind, the longer we hold out on accepting those opportunities that are waiting for us to say yes, those opportunities that are waiting to be recognized. And it's really about the heart. So when I say this card is about disappointment, it's like we're looking at heartache right now. We're looking at all of the pain that we've experienced this past cycle in our hearts. And right now I'm thinking about all the people that I've done readings for this month and my friends and my family, and I'm thinking about all the different levels of heartache that everyone's going through right now, or that everyone's been going through this month. And man, the range is wild. I mean, I can see how everybody's going through some sort of an emotional time, a painful time. On the smallest scale to the largest, I mean, there has been death this month. There has been sickness. There has been stress. There has been irrational stress. And then there's been what I would judge as justified stress. But it just seems like everybody was experiencing a bit of heartache or a lot of heartache. And the point is, you can look at it as long as you want. And as long as you're looking at it, you will continue to gain the information that you need to later on reflect in hindsight and pull out realizations from that, have lessons from that. So look at it as long as you need to. Be honest with yourself. Don't look away because you want to ignore the pain or because you want to run away from the pain, because it will only resurface. So look at it, observe it, reflect upon it as long as you need to. But when you're ready, know this: those new opportunities to fill your cup, the grail of the heart, are standing right behind you. It's okay to look at the pain and sit with the pain as long as you need to. Just be honest with yourself, because it's all about what you see and what you feel. No one else can tell you any different. You have to trust yourself and your own beliefs. Do not contradict your own beliefs. No matter what other people's beliefs are, what do you truly believe? Maybe you, upon examining that, want to shift what your beliefs are. But what you really believe strongly in your mind and in your heart, you have to honor that. So if you believe that you need to grieve a little bit longer, then do it. As long as you need to. But know all the while that Spirit is offering you opportunity to fill that cup back up as soon as you're ready. As soon as you're ready to turn around and see that what you lost, there's something far greater to be found. And that's tricky. Let's look at like the deepest heartache that someone can experience, like the loss of a loved one. It's hard to say that to them. Like, even though you lost this loved one, there's something greater waiting. But try to see it from a more multidimensional perspective. That although you lost this person, that Spirit is within you and it's within all things. And the opportunities to come, the opportunities that are waiting to fill the grail of your heart, include the spirit of that one that you loved so deeply. That spirit of that loved one is going to be in these interwoven in these new opportunities that you will soon say yes to and open up to, I hope. And that spirit lives on within yourself. And so when you say yes to these new opportunities, you're not just you're more whole now because you carry with you the spirit of your loved one. And together you will say yes to these new opportunities because your loved one would have wanted you to do that. Your loved one will want you to move on and say yes and keep living, not just for you, but for him or her, for them, for us, for all for one and one for all. So no matter what your loss is, you've got to know, this is the message I see super clearly every time I close my eyes right now. You've got to know that your highest self, and higher than that, the one where we all meet as this one high self, what would that self want for you? Sure, to grieve as long as you need to. to love yourself through the grieving, to seek the support you need, whether it's self-support or the support of others who are around you. And then to continue to open your heart, not to close up and to fear moving ahead now because of what you lost, but to try as hard as it is, especially when it's hard, to open up your heart to more love, to a new experience. To remember that although your cup seems to have been emptied, it can be filled again. And in fact, not just filled, but overflowing. In each moment, we have the opportunity to say yes to what life is offering to us and make the best of it and cultivate that overflowing cup. In each moment, we have the ability to say yes to that, to say, you know what, right now I don't feel like my cup is overflowing, but I know that the opportunity is always there to start again. And I'm going to begin with visualizing that overflowing cup. And for those of you who are into tarot, if you know the symbol of the Ace of Cups, or if you don't, go ahead and Google the Ace of Cups. It's a beautiful, very powerful, esoteric image that when meditated upon can help you begin that journey, can help you begin that initiation to seek that overflowing cup. Because the image of the Ace of Cups, and aces are initiations, the image of the Ace of Cups is an overflowing cup. It's a beautiful grail that's overflowing. And if you just meditate on that and see that, and not just ask for that, but give thanks for that already happening, it will come. And do your best to eliminate any contradictory or opposing thoughts to that image. Ace of Cups, look it up. So the best way we can integrate this tower lesson right now is to, you could see very much how these are related too, is to see how no matter what we've lost, and this is really in regards to matters of the heart, no matter what pain we've experienced this month, or what pain we're feeling right now, no matter what has fallen, what has broken down, what has been lost, remember, nothing's really lost. All that's real never dies. The only thing that's real is love and light, and the lessons we learn in that to help our own light and love grow, and that goes with us beyond the grave into the next life and the next life and the next life. But all those disappointments and all the pain and whatever you lost on this material plane, it's impermanent anyway. So don't fall for the illusion. Don't fall for the trap. Don't allow this pain or this hurt to trap you in your own emotions, to allow your emotions to overcome you. Don't forget that your emotions are only here to guide you, and that the pain is only there to remind you that you have to keep going. That you have all the willpower and strength you need to keep going. And we're here, in fact, to overcome those obstacles. Despite the pain, we are here to transcend it. We're here to rise. We're here to persist. We're here to keep going, for sure. There are many, many pieces of wisdom within the tarot, within, in other words, the royal path, that teach us this lesson that we are here absolutely to prevail. We're here to experience the pain and to rise above it. So whatever heartache you're experiencing, remember it's impermanent, it's temporary, and it's here to test you so that you can prove to yourself just how strong you are and make yourself proud. You have to keep going. You can't possibly allow one experience of heartache to put you down for the rest of your life. The sooner you rebuild, the better, but not in denial of your emotions and your feelings. So like I said, grieve all you need to. Grieve as much as you believe you need to. But all the while, hold that knowing that when you are ready, the opportunity to fill your cup back up to an overflowing abundance is waiting for you. That's the best way to deal with the tower. Whatever you've lost, do your grieving, but know that as soon as you're ready, the universe is ready for you too. It's ready right now to give you new opportunities to fill your cup back up. The amount of time it takes to be okay, to start again, to begin anew, is all up to you. Now, what is a taste of what's to come for the next cycle? What I mean by that is next week we're going to be doing the final quarter activation, which is really going to close this up and tie it all up. So right now, this is the full moon. We're just receiving the final leg of the table here. We're receiving all the pieces to the puzzle. We see the whole picture. And next week, we're going to check in with how we've integrated all this. And then from that point till the following week will be the new moon. And that's what we're going to peek into right now. The Three of Swords. And this is all around pain, struggling, suffering because of sorrow, because of heartache. Reprogramming our thoughts in our mind to eliminate those patterns that have formed as a byproduct of the painful experiences we've gone through. So, if this is what we're going to be working on, the best way that we can prepare right now to make our work a lot easier for us in the future is to see how that relates to this right here, right now. The more we can make sense of what's happening to us right now, the more we can create the reasons for why we lost what we lost and accept it and be okay with it, the easier this will be later. You need to make the reasons for yourself. So whatever you lost, don't focus on the pain so much. Focus on that as long as you need to release it. But in order to release it, perhaps it might help to explore maybe why it wasn't for your highest good for that situation to continue. Or why it was for your highest good for that situation to break apart, to break down, to end. What are the positive aspects of the crumbling of the tower? Because the more you can see the positive aspects, the more you can accept it, the sooner you can take control of your own emotions, the sooner you can take the reins in your own life, so that when it comes time for this, it'll be a lot easier than it would have been if we didn't do this work. So just see maybe why what has ended wasn't going to be for your highest good if it had continued. See the reasons why the tower needed to crumble. Project that positivity. Accept what has happened so that in the future, when we come to this sorrow, need to reprogram our thoughts because of past heartache, it will be a lot easier because we'll have the acceptance already cultivated. And we can apply that to this process and we could say, oh, okay, I'm not really so stuck on these thoughts and I'm ready to let them go, or I'm ready to replace them, or I'm ready to shift them around. Because I'm no longer emotionally attached to what has happened. So that really makes it a lot easier for me to change what I'm thinking, to let go of the pain. Because you always want to look at the opposite of the card. You always want to look at the occult message of the card. So what is the opposite of sorrow of the heart? It's joy. It's a full heart, a whole heart, a healed heart. So that's what's coming. And the experience will be more light and joyful if we can prepare now. Another easy way to prepare now is to just see this image. There's a reason I use these cards, and there's a reason I love the symbolism of the Rider-Waite deck. It's because these symbols, these universal symbols, have been used for so long, and the collective power around them is great, profound. And if we use these images for meditation rather than creating our own detailed images in our mind's eye, it really simplifies things because we like to make things complex. And the more imagery we use and the more we just try to pull things out of our own imagination, the more those things come with attachments and the past and experiences that we subconsciously are associating with those symbols. But if we use these symbols, it helps to bypass the thoughts of the subconscious mind and our memory bank and helps us to just be present and do magic without our egos getting in the way. So a really simple way to prepare for the future of this card is to see this heart as your heart, and to see yourself, if you can, close your eyes, to see yourself pulling the swords out of the heart, knowing that those swords are the negative thought patterns that have fabricated as a result of the pain we have experienced in the past. So just go in there and see yourself pulling the swords out, and maybe taking, and you could do this however you like, but I'm giving you a simple example here. You could see yourself taking your hand and smoothing over your heart and just kind of giving it a little smoothing over like this, and seeing that when you remove your hand, the holes are patched. Not patched, but smoothed. Like the holes are gone. The slits from the swords, gone. Miraculous, that's it. Because these are thoughts we're talking about. There's not actual holes in the heart, but it feels like it when those thoughts are in our mind, because the mind and the heart are one. They're connected, just as all things are. And those painful thoughts that we put in our minds that form as a result of our pain, our heart's pain that we experience, it feels like holes in the heart. So what happens when we go into the mind and we heal those thoughts, and we don't just ignore them, but we accept and we truly heal and we move on from them? Those holes disappear and the heart feels whole again. So we can see that happening right here, right now. And that can help us to do this without so many words or without so many complex thoughts, without risking getting entangled in our own ego's world. We can just simply perform this visual exercise, really feeling it, really sinking into it, and know that this will help the process that we are going to step into in the new cycle. And you can do this anytime, in fact. This is a fun little meditation, a fun little exercise that is useful anytime. So that way, no matter what negative thoughts may be creeping in, no matter what programs may be forming out of our pain subconsciously, we can eradicate them in such a simple way by doing this little exercise. By just seeing our heart, acknowledging the holes being the pain from the feelings that we've experienced from past hurt, knowing that it's only being perpetuated by our own thoughts and our thought programs, and saying, oh, I know that's all it is, and I'm going to see my heart whole again. I'm taking out those swords that represent those thoughts wherever they are within my psyche. And in doing so, those thoughts are banished. Those thoughts are banished. They're gone. And that can feel really good. And you can do that anytime. I feel called to pull another card. So I'm going to pull one for what is a current challenge that we're going to experience as we integrate the lesson of the Tower. And as we accept the loss and the pain so that we can be whole again. What is our biggest challenge as we do this? Ooh, this came up for me last night. 3 of Pentacles. This is all about working together, teamwork on the material plane. I see right away the message. So it's all about going through this process internally, really knowing how to self-heal, self-soothe, because that's a big part of this process. Because we want this healing to be sustainable. We want to make sure that we know how to do this on our own, that we're not always going to have to rely on somebody outside of ourselves to do this healing. We want to be masters of our own emotions. We want to be masters of our own thoughts, because no one can do it better than your own self. It's inside of you. So learning this information, learning how to go through this process correctly, learning how to deal with your pain, how to deal with loss, how to deal with suffering or sorrow of the heart, learning how to pick yourself back up again, how to accept what has happened, how to look back and make sense of it all and create acceptance, to cultivate acceptance on your own, putting it together for yourself. It creates a sense of self-pride that is righteous. The feeling of fulfillment that you get from that is like none other. It's a self-empowerment that can be achieved only by internalizing this work. So I think internalizing here is the key word. That's the first message I saw. The other part of this is, if you need the help, again, just like this, don't deny what you're feeling. Of course, feel it as long as you believe you need to. So if you need the help, if you need to reach out to someone around you to help you get through this, to help you make sense of why all of this stuff has unfolded, or why this loss has happened, why you have had to watch your tower fall. If you need a listening ear, if you need a shoulder to lean on, then be honest with yourself and accept it. But as you are accepting that help, maintain the awareness that it is absolutely a goal to get to the point of being able to internalize your pain when there is no one else. To know that whatever this person is saying to you, however they're helping you, they literally are you. They are one with you. And in that way, you can kind of bridge the gap, this illusory gap, and see how you are helping yourself in that moment. And you helped yourself by reaching out and being honest with yourself and saying, I need this. But all the while remaining aware that this person is not separate from you, that you are one with them. And what are they saying to you, or what are they offering to you that feels so supportive? And how next time can you say that to yourself? How next time can you feel that for yourself? How after that conversation with that person can you go home and meditate and within your own mind tell that to yourself, to repeat whatever they said that was comforting to you to yourself, to really allow that information to sink in, so that in the future, and there will be many times that in the future, you will now have this newly cultivated wisdom to be able to help yourself through the situation, to help yourself, to guide yourself through your emotions, through your thoughts, to empowerment. So it's all about internalizing. Reach out, work together with others when they're helpful. Be careful not to reach out to others or lean on others who are not going to truly help you get through this. For example, you don't want to reach out to people who maybe you feel comfortable with them, but they're just going to sit there and wallow in self-pity with you, or they're going to justify your self-pity, or they're going to just not help you see a way out. Make sure that whoever you reach out to has your best interest at heart, really wants to make sure that you have the tools to be able to, in the future, internalize and help yourself and really empower yourself. So there are some people who you might reach out to because you think you're comfortable with them, they've helped you before, but they are on this high horse and they are so proud because they're the one that knows and is giving you advice and they want to tell you what to do. No, reach out to people who are going to help you to empower yourself, who are not just going to tell you the answers, but get you thinking for yourself. Because that's what this whole process is about, is learning how to pick ourselves up from the pain, to accept what has happened to us, and to know that there are always opportunities to rebuild, to stand stronger than ever before. You want to reach out to people, if you need to reach out to people, only who are going to help you reach that level of self-empowerment. Not just give you the answers, but help you find them for yourself. Self-reflection. Because self-reflection can still happen even when you're seeking the support of another. It's the same thing as the concept of a true leader makes other leaders. It doesn't just make followers. It's the same kind of a concept. Reach out to someone who knows that you are one with them and who will do their best not to take away your power by telling you what to do, but by sitting with you, hearing you, perhaps asking you questions to help you self-reflect on what the answer could possibly be. So this is the current challenge as we move through this. Really ask yourself in this process of picking yourself back up and rebuilding the tower, ask yourself, who's really going to accept me in all of my moments through this process? Who in my circle is going to see me grieving and say, that's okay, and not shame you for it or make you feel guilty for grieving, but sit with you and comfort you, but also encourage you to remember that when you're ready, the universe is so willing, so ready, so excited to fill your cup back up. And who in your circle is going to help you to be self-empowered, to find the answers for yourself, so that if and when you are alone in the future and you're experiencing pain, you'll have the tools to pull yourself back up, to pull yourself out of it. But before you even ask yourself those questions of who can do this, first ask yourself, do I need anyone's help me through this? Can I first sit with this? And you know in your heart, if you really need someone, reach out. But first ask yourself, can I sit with this and do the healing? How much healing can I do on my own right now? How can I, before reaching outside of myself, how can I close my eyes and look within and ask, why did this happen to me? Why did it all fall apart? Write the reasons down even. Be honest with yourself. No one's going to know better than you. And ask yourself really honestly, can I find the reasons why? Can I write them down and can I read those reasons and really accept them into my heart? How much internalizing can I do? And then, if you feel the need, reach out. But remember, reach out to only those people who are not going to take you away from that path of cultivating those tools that you need to master self. Only reaching out to others who want to see you be your own leader, who don't want to give you answers but help you find your own answers. Happy full moon. It's good to see you guys on here. Thank you for tuning in. If you didn't subscribe yet, you can find me on youtube.com/Rebecca Magick. I'm going to be sharing a journaling that I've been working on this past week in video form on YouTube in a few days, and I will be sharing the link here on my wall on Facebook. And I'm going to be sharing a lot more new stuff on there, so make sure you subscribe. I also do one-on-one readings for those of you who are new to these activations. These activation videos are just as much for the individual as they are for the collective consciousness, and they're done once a week. They're highly activating. They give us the tools that we need to move forward together and individually with the most grace and with the most efficiency, without crisis. And so these are every week. I've been doing them for over 2.5 years. You can go back and find all of them on my YouTube channel again, so make sure you subscribe. But I do private readings. I also do one-on-one tarot lessons, so go ahead and reach out to me if you are interested. You can email me at thearchetypalactivator@gmail.com. That link is on my Facebook wall at the very top. You may also drop a comment below, private message me, however you want to reach out. I'm here, and I'm ready to help you understand this archetypal alliance and how their wisdom lives inside of you and can be accessed at any time to help you through anything you're going through in life. Not just negative experiences, but also positive experiences, because all they do is help you to kind of clear out the extraneous thoughts, the unnecessary stuff, and get focused to soak in whatever lessons are being presented to you positively or negatively in life in the best way possible. They're just empowering and help you to move through any experience and take advantage of it as best as you possibly can. Thanks guys for watching. Aloha, shalom, happy full moon. I'll see you next week for the final quarter activation. Peace.